Let's welcome Marc Maron.
How are you?
To the show. I'm good. How are you?
I'm out of the gate, right out of the gate?
I'm getting you the way you get everybody else.
Right.
You didn't know it started.
Fresh.
This is what it's like
to
be in the other chair now, Marc.
I feel it. I've had this experience once before.
Yeah.
I think on the last marathon. I like that I'm like the sort of appetizer for a very lengthy dinner.
This is what this is you and Kurt Weil. It's a shot across the bow to tell everybody we're not messing around, that we have the best boot, that we could put the best people first.
Yeah. I can't hear myself.
Okay. I think we're
hello.
How's that?
Nope. Hello.
I wouldn't worry. There you go. Is that better? No? Look, we're just talking. We're not taking calls. We're okay.
I thought we were going to take calls.
No.
What's up? Here comes the guy. Here comes the knob guy.
Andrew.
Hey, Andrew. Yeah, that did nothing. I don't even think my headset's on. It doesn't matter. We're eating up time here.
No, we're talking.
I know. Okay. I can hear you fine.
That's exactly, why are we doing this? Look, I'm taking.
No, but I can hear you in here, but I can't hear me. You understand what I'm saying?
I get it.
But you're like me, though. You need the cans.
I need the cans.
I'm
running
on.
back to them. I'm like, I took them off for a second.
It's weird just to hear your regular voice,
right? Isn't it? Feels like something's wrong.
Yeah, you can't calibrate it properly.
Yeah,
I had a big day
today.
Yeah,
what happened today?
I got a haircut. I cut it all off. You didn't notice? I got it's almost like you. I always got a haircut.
I always get
what?
It's one of the things that, as a kid, I would always be upset going to school
with the haircut.
Because I was just like, I just don't want to talk about this haircut. We all get them, and somebody, hey, you got a haircut. It's like, yeah, okay. You don't think we all get haircuts?
I've had a lot of bad experiences in my life with hair. At some point early on in New York, I was lost. I had a nebulous identity. I was striving to be part of something.
Sure.
I was living on the Lower East Side, on Second between A and B. I was doing comedy, but I noticed down in Tompkins Square Park, there were a lot of kids with the big skateboards.
Sure.
And there was a skateboard shop there at that time, briefly, and they sold the big fancy skateboards. And with no experience at all, I decided it was time to be a skateboarder. So I went and bought one of those skateboards for like $150.
Always started big, too.
Yeah. And then,
this is going to be my thing, so I got to get a good one out of the box.
Exactly.
I'm not going to be a sucker and buy a cheap one while I figure out if I love this.
That's exactly right.
I'm going to love this thing.
And I'm going to learn
the best one.
Right. I'm going to do the flipping, the stuff. I'm going to do all the stuff.
Yeah.
And arguably way too old to do it, probably in my early 30s. And I got the skateboard and I went out to where the young kids were flipping the boards around.
Yeah.
And I just sat on my board. And the kids were kind of looking at me like, what do you got? And I'm like, I just got the board right now. And that lasted a day. And then shortly after that, I shaved my head entirely. I went to one of those razor cut places.
Sure.
And I had just had a full buzz job.
Yeah.
And because I'm so self-conscious, I literally fell into myself in a way that I never want to experience again. I went on stage that night with my newly shaved head and I fell apart. I fell apart because I thought everybody was like, what did this guy do to his head?
Yeah.
But no one knows you.
Yeah.
And I literally almost cried because of this decision I made.
I'm just going to say this.
Yes.
They could have made a movie called Skateboard Driver.
Yeah, but it just would have ended with me.
Lower East Side.
Yeah.
Gets a skateboard. Everybody's giving you the look, the stink eye. You're mad at them.
Sure.
You shave it all off. You come back to the skate park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just spend a lot of time taking apart my skateboard and putting it back together again.
Yeah.
Learning the word trucks. Yeah. What kind of trucks are those?
You eat it like an automat with your skateboard.
Oh yeah. It's just me and the board.
Yeah.
But today, like I've been wearing that long bushy. I just was, I'm going to be 60 this month. And I was like, how much do I have to lean into the totally crazy old Jew look? Like I had this gray hair sticking out all over the place. It was rarely controlled. And I thought I looked pretty good, but then I look at pictures of myself and I'm like, what am I doing? It was on the sort of Einstein-Vonnegut spectrum. And I'm like, I got to reel this in a little bit because I don't mind the gray or anything else. But I would see many homeless people And not homeless people, but, kind of like old, aggravated, I'm going to assume Jews on the street walking quickly that looked a lot like me. And I'm like, I'm 2 years from that.
Yeah.
So let's try to curtail it a bit.
Let's take a.
But the funny thing about the haircut, if I can, I don't know if you have questions prepared, but.
Yeah, this is such a formal. No, you know how formal it is when you come in and we just go down the list of questions, and then it's like there's you have the 45-degree angles, the movie poster at it, and you're just going from hotel room to hotel room.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
you know how it is.
Yeah, I know. It's a junket.
It's very formal.
It's a junket. I have to. I got to run over to Theo Vaughn's podcast after this
to talk about the haircut.
Yeah, we can compare hair mistakes.
Well, I think you might lose that race
on that
one with that guy.
And also,
I don't know what that is.
He would never have me on his show, and I don't think it tapes here. But so anyway, I wanted to get a haircut, and I didn't know because the woman who cut my hair has been cutting my hair since the Maron show. She was my stylist, and she lives in Glendale. So she was just, when I need one, she'd just come over and do it. So I said, how do I find out where to cut my hair? And I thought, who's the vainest, most self-preoccupied comic who would really know the best place to get a haircut?
Yeah.
Who do you guess?
I don't know.
Jeselnik. So
there you go. That's a pretty good one.
So I go up to Jeselnik and I'm like, do you know where I should get a haircut? He goes, I do. This woman's been cutting my hair for over 10 years. Mm-hmm. She's in Santa Monica, but she's great. And I said, is it $400? He goes, it is. So I call up because I'm like, I got a little money saved. I'm like, I'd like to get a $400 haircut.
Yeah.
And because I've had a lot of bad haircuts, this was good. It was a good experience. But I go to make the appointment, and I said, Anthony, and I had met the woman who cuts the hair.
Yeah,
she's married to the editor of the first season of White Lotus.
Okay,
and I met her with that amazing Italian actress who's on White Lotus, Sabrina, the last season
from the second season. Yes.
Yeah. What's her last name? She's the best.
The one who was working at the front desk.
That's right. Her, and I love her. I was in one of those rare moments where dinners where I'd taking a meeting with Rob Burnett, the writer and the producer, Nikki Weinstock. Is that his name? Yeah. So anyway, I'm just dropping names left and right. So I've met her before, but here's the deal. I called to make the appointment. She goes, well, Anthony, I said, Jeselnik referred me. She's like, oh, that's right. Well, he's, I said, when can I get an appointment? And she says, well, on this day, Anthony's coming in that day. You want to go like before or after him? And I'm like, I'll go before him. So I'm getting my haircut, and Jeselnik's coming in for his touch up. And dude, she's got us both sitting in separate chairs, and she's telling us what to do with our hair. And me and Anthony are just sitting there going like, oh, okay, yeah, I think I can do that with the foam. And like, and I said to Jeselnik, I said, which one of us has the courage to live Instagram this?
Yeah.
and we didn't.
Yeah, I would
pull back from that.
No, that
it's a great time.
That's amazing, and that's the fraternity of comedians.
It's great.
Get a haircut.
It was funny.
Here.
It was funny, and I walk out of the hair place. I'm walking down the street to my car in Santa Monica. Anthony's touring a lot. I like that guy, Anthony. And I'm walking down the street, and there's a little stocky dude walking towards me. Very specific look. Yeah, kind of gray hair, gray beard, gray mustache, all tightly cropped, sunglasses. And I'm like, that looks like David Mamet. And I said, and he's coming towards me, I'm like, David Mamet. He's like, hi, thank you. And I'm like, no, it's me, Marc Maron.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, how you doing? I don't know when he became an old Jewish mobster.
Yeah,
but he's like,
he took a turn somewhere.
Right. Politically, certainly. Yeah. But I think a lot of that, he's just a shit starter. I mean, and I think he likes that.
Yeah.
But yes, that's true. But he's still David Mamet. Yeah. And inarguably wrote some of the great plays and some great screenplays. So I'm like, it's me, Marc Maron. He's like, oh yeah, you still living over the play? You still living over there? And I'm like, no, I moved to a different house. He's like, oh, did they send you my book? And I'm like, what book? He's like, I wrote a book about Hollywood, my 40 years in Hollywood. And I do, like he's like, it's all in there. And I'm like, tell him to send it.
Yeah.
But it was funny to see him because he's the reason I bought it took me because of David Mamet, I spent 20 years trying to find a particular sunglass frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like his sunglasses?
Yeah, but he wasn't wearing the ones that
Mm-hmm.
I didn't bring it up. I wish
Yeah.
I'd been wearing the other ones. We could have had that conversation. I think I talked to him about that on my podcast to avoid talking about politics. Like he'd say, like, "What's going on today?" I'm like, "You remember those sunglasses you used to have?"
Yeah, it's those things when it's like, if you see somebody's movie, for example, and you're not, you just go like, "Wow, you must do it. Where'd you shoot that?" And like you come up with anything to not say what.
Yeah, you just go
19
Chicago.
Yeah,
Chicago
What's
was
it like to shoot in Chicago?
Yeah.
Just like, oh, yeah. What was where was that restaurant you shot that in? You just hope you can like run out the clock.
Got to be a story about
So
the
did
restaurant.
you like it or not? You're just waiting, hoping nobody flags you on that. Now, Mark,
Yes.
you and I both have an affinity for Don Rickles.
Yeah.
A listener, a couple of years ago, I was talking about there was a Don Rickles estate sale going on.
Yeah.
And I looked at the stuff and I couldn't find a thing I wanted from it necessarily.
Yeah.
But this listener bid on some stuff, and then he's like, I want it, but they won't ship it to me. So he's like, if you go pick it up, you can have some of what the thing was. And if I pick it up and I ship it to him, he goes, you can have one. So this is a Don Rickles tie.
Yeah.
This is one of his ties.
Okay.
And one of his belts I have.
Okay.
These are stage.
Yeah.
These are Don Rickles. Look, he wore a stretchy belt.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
He had to at a certain point. That's a casual belt for him.
Yeah.
The tie's a little outrageous too. Well, I mean, are you going to mount this in a frame with a letter of authenticity?
I think I'm just going to actually keep it on the middle shelf of this cart, actually. Honestly, I have no plans for it. But
oh, boy.
It's the kind of thing,
Yeah.
like I go on these runs.
What else was in it?
What else was in it was just 6 ties and 6 belts.
That's what the guy bid on?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say like the giant circle for the roast of him.
Could you imagine
having that? The
Yeah.
Don Rickles roast
Yeah.
thing that was behind the dais?
that? If those roasts were happening now, they would be like you watch those roasts, it's like, oh, it's a hoot and everybody's laughing. And then it's like Barry Goldwater is sitting up there and they're just like, Senator Goldwater, it's like, it would be like now if you did one of these things, so like Matt Gaetz was sitting up there and laughing with everybody, Mike Huckabee.
Yeah.
It's like these were
Yeah.
awful people
Sure.
who were just yucking it up on the dais.
I think Reagan was on one, no?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
'Cause he would always say like, he would say, Governor Reagan,
Yeah.
I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'm sick of you.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. I just keep thinking of that beat in that Clint Eastwood tribute. I can't.
I've watched
Your
that
son
song.
played bass. We sat through that. We sat through
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And
Oh.
the Scorsese one is maybe my favorite one when he just like starts off and he just goes, Marty, I want to say, if somebody could give him a phone book so he can see me. Like just right off the top, he's laying into him hard.
Yeah.
And then my favorite Rickles move is when he's like, Robert De Niro's here, of course. He's a genius. He's an amazing actor. Just ask him. He'll tell you.
Yeah.
He's like, he was backstage telling us about it.
The thing that got me onto Rickles is he did some sort of network special. And I vaguely remember it. I guess I could probably try to find it on YouTube where he's doing crowd work on the stage and he's talking to a guy that's him, like it's some sort of split screen thing.
Okay.
And the line was, he says, did that suit come with 2 pairs of pants and a yo-yo?
Yo-yo.
What?
Like the Don Rickles is so lucky he was not like an internet comedian, because there would be charts of none of this makes sense. Like it would just
Totally.
he would get it's just like,
50%, dude. 50% would fail.
Yeah.
And some of it would make no sense at all. But
No
the
sense.
timing was so immaculate.
yeah.
You loved it.
Yeah. Because he's also just so he just burns it, moves on to the next one. He's like, yeah, you're John with Johnny Carson. He would be like, John, your parents are back in Nebraska sitting on the porch going like, where's the tractor?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And it's
Or
like,
you-
what's that mean?
Or the way his wife would just make a noise like.
He's always like, my wife Barbara, she'd be like,
yeah,
bro.
yeah.
He's always just like, she's like, I hope you don't make a big deal. out of it." Like, he always, yeah, it would be like, I'm looking at the chat. People were saying like Lauren Boebert would be on those panels, like on those roast daises
with armed with a gun.
Yeah, she'd be up there.
Yeah, with a AR-15 strapped to her back.
Yeah, just ready to throw down.
But Hader sent me some stuff where, like, he sent me that one where Don had crossed a line. It was that Letterman appearance.
Oh, that's a rough one because that was clearly Don Rickles realizing that racial sensitivity was in the mix now, and like his stuff, like the stuff that works in the on the Late Show, in Vegas, does not work on television in the '80s. And you saw him make a in-show correction.
Yeah, because David was, kind of resistant. Yeah. But then there's that one of him and Denzel later. I think that's kind of great.
I love it. Yeah.
And Denzel played with him. Let it happen.
It was one of the ones where, like, because Letterman always, you're a guest. He didn't have a panel.
Right.
You're a guest. Goodbye. Here's the next guest. Denzel Washington wanted to stay out for Don Rickles because he loved him so much. And then, but then Rickles just does the classic, like, Dave, you can't help me with my career. He can help me with, like...
yeah. Like, or how that was the one we kept saying, like, what's with the hands? What are you doing with the hands? What are you... And he goes, so you and Frank, that where he's like, you and Frank Sinatra, both your wives are named Barbara. He's like, what are you, detective?
Yeah. And he would, when... And the one I put on Instagram once where he's, like, talking to Letterman, and he goes... I was having dinner with Regis. We went to we went to Coco Pazzo, and then Letterman goes, "Is that a restaurant?" He goes, "No, it's a warehouse." Like, he
was so on.
Oh my god,
on that one.
Yeah,
it was so good. Do we? Are we really keeping it a secret, that conversation we had?
Yeah, let's keep all that a secret. We will talk about that later. That is, I'm not done having the conversation with you. That's one. We're going to kick that can down the road a little bit.
Okay, another question.
Yeah.
Now, I've made a promise to my girlfriend Kit.
Yeah.
The cat lady.
I just want to say one other thing before we go deeper. The other thing that you were helping me work on is still also a surprise, so I want to keep that off the air until it happens.
Okay.
And that should terrify the audience also.
Yeah, I don't even know what that one is.
You made a connection.
Oh, yes.
That's all I want to say.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So everybody, if that sounds tantalizing.
Is that for the future?
That is for later tonight. Yeah.
That's big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the people are, that's, well, good for, I
just want to head everybody off. It's not Paul Thomas Anderson.
Nope.
Get that out of your head. It's not Lana Del Rey. It's not Paul Thomas Anderson.
Nope.
We're going down a different road on this one.
I can't wait. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But so I made a promise to Kid. I can't remember why, but it was in some form of barter. But so is the Halloween party happening?
Yes.
Okay. Well, apparently I have to dress up.
Well, we'll get ready. You might want to start figuring a costume out now.
Can I go as Sam Sylvia from Glow?
It might be a little bit of a cop out, but
I'll work on it.
Yeah,
I'll work on it.
Now you figure out a nice thing. Maybe you get some antenna or something.
Antennas.
Yeah, like
box. How about a box?
A box. Just wear a box. Yeah. Or why don't you just dress like Ted Lasso?
I just have to take the beard off.
When you were a kid, what was Halloween like for you as a kid? Were you into it?
I remember, one time. I don't think I was really that into it because I can't remember any costumes. But I do remember there was a time where I wanted to be Fonzie.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it was elementary school. And it was a Halloween dance or something. And I really wanted the right leather jacket.
Okay.
To be Fonzie.
Sure.
It's pretty specific. Mm-hmm. I was obsessed with the leather jackets.
Yeah.
And so there was nothing that could be done. I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, but my dad, this orthopedic surgeon, had some cop friends,
Okay.
that were out of the force now. And apparently one of them said I could wear his leather jacket, his motorcycle jacket,
Sure.
to be Fonzie.
Mm-hmm.
But what undermined the costume was the Albuquerque County Police patch on the leather jacket. So it was kind of confusing. It wasn't.
It's like Fonzie is a Fonzie Brasco situation there. He's working for both sides.
Right. But I greased up my hair and did that thing. And then eventually my grandfather did buy me a Scott leather jacket.
Okay.
When I was probably in junior high. And it was like the full Wild One belted motorcycle jacket. That just was too much.
I love how Brando had that leather jacket and then this jaunty cap. It was like, looks like you're working at the boardwalk.
Was not menacing.
Yeah, exactly. The jacket's rough. And then this kind of like playful little tan hat.
Who were they going after? What was the idea there? Who was in charge of wardrobe on that one?
Yeah.
You know what I watched last night that I hadn't seen since I was a child, and no one ever talks about the movie. And it's like really, like I was stunned because it's one of the greatest movies of that era, which is the movie that Roy Scheider did after French Connection called The 7-Ups.
Okay. I know of it. I've never seen it.
Oh my God. I only remember seeing it as a kid because there's a car accident in it that is jarring.
Okay.
And I remembered it. And I knew that I had seen the movie with my family as a kid, not unlike Freebie and the Bean, another great movie. And I was just talking to Goldman about Freebie and the Bean. Do you see that movie?
That's one I've never seen also.
Alan Arkin, James Caan, San Francisco Cops. It was sort of the kind of template of Beverly Hills Cops, but in the 70s, they killed everybody. Like Beverly Hills Cops, no one's getting killed.
No.
But but those two guys just destroyed the entire city of San Francisco. But the 7-Ups is this movie. There's a lot of there's some of the New York crew in there. The guy who played the guy who played the middleman in the drug deal in French Connection, the guy who worked at the luncheonette, that guy.
Okay.
He's in it. The guy who played the Fed that Popeye shoots accidentally in the French Connection, he's in it. He plays one of the bad guys.
Okay.
And there's a couple other guys that you'd recognize, but it's about this force within the New York cops. But there are these 4 or 5 guys that are kind of riding the line of inappropriateness in terms of how their techniques, in terms of entrapment warrants. But they get the job done.
Yeah.
But the script is so complicated and amazing because it's one of those rare movies where the main guy does not know what's going on for most of the movie. And you're kind of not quite clear on it, but it's all unfolding as you watch it in a way where it's like Chinatown. You realize Jack Nicholson's clueless and we don't really know either. Yeah. But it's like that. And it's kind of a great movie.
So what is it, 72, 73?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Wow. 7-Ups. I got to see it.
You do. It's in the Criterion 70s car chase
collection. I saw that whole series. I haven't had a chance to jump into that. It's amazing. I do like that Criterion finds these categories that get closer to my dumb taste where they can justify suddenly having, flash dance on the channel. And I'm suddenly like, whoa, here we go. This is art. They're lowering their bar to meet my relatively low bar for what I consider art.
They're trying to expand the spectrum of movie nerddom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Kit and I went to the American Cinematheque screening of The Brink's Job at the Los Feliz last night, which is a Friedkin movie that is an outlier. Yeah. Because it's kind of a screwball comedy.
Yeah. What is that? Peter Falk, right?
Peter Falk, but also Alan Garfield. The great
amazing.
Alan Garfield.
From Nashville.
Yep. Who died during COVID out here at the old folks home, I think.
That's all. Yeah. He was, man,
great.
Alan Garfield. Alan Garfield was also in, man, what am I blanking on? I saw him in, I was watching something.
He's one of those guys where he's like, he's in everything and he's
amazing.
Yeah, he's always good. And it was Peter Boyle. Yeah, and it was kind of fun, but it was kind of screwy because it didn't know its tone. But it was definitely kind of a very staged thing. But the Brink's Job was a real thing, and Peter Falk is pretty great. And Warren Oates, I swear to God, might be the best performance he's ever done. Is in that movie.
Yeah, Warren Oates, one of the I was just watching shooting. I was
Oh,
watching.
That's
Monty
what's that guy,
Hellman.
Monty Hellman movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understood that movie. Didn't he do another one called Cockfighter or
He
something?
did Cockfight
and
and
two black lane two
two.
yeah.
Why am I? That's embarrassing.
I screwed it up.
Two top.
Blacktop.
Why am I getting it wrong? I'm like, I know the name of it.
It's a 4-lane blacktop or something blacktop.
It's called 2-lane blacktop.
There you go. With Dennis Wilson.
With Dennis Wilson.
Yeah.
Yes. It no, that's when like a movie could just kind of be like, if you're just like, yeah, I didn't get it, just like,
Oh
It'd
yeah,
be like-
it's almost like just having a record on in the background,
yeah, and you're just kind of like
checking in with it occasionally.
yeah, like a meditative car movie.
Exactly.
It's like existential car movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So you had, was it a year ago? Not even a year ago for the special, right?
Yeah.
It was early this year.
When did I release it? November, maybe?
Yeah. Okay. Late. When's the, you're working on stuff. I saw you at the store. I saw you give great stuff. What's the trajectory like for that?
Well, I'm going to St. Louis this weekend. I'm doing I'm honing the hour for the people at the comedy clubs.
Okay.
Because you got Goldman coming on. I interviewed Gary Goldman yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we're similar in that we speak specifically about things in a way that I still feel the need to go to the Comedy Store 3 or 4 nights a week, and when I'm working on an hour, I'll do it at Largo. I'll do it at Diney's Typewriter, but then we got to go to Salt Lake City. Got to bring it to the people. Yeah, and and sell the drinks. Yeah. So I'm going to St. Louis for 5 shows. Okay. And I think I've been kind of hovering around the hour 20, hour and a half at the Riff shows. Okay. But I think I might have close to a pretty solid hour in there. So that's where it's at.
And does it feel like these are like, is it the kind of thing that you can build them more consistently because I don't know. It's just like,
I don't know how that works. It just seems like I do it.
Like it shows up when it shows up, and
that's always the way it goes. Like after the special this time, I was like, as always, I'm like, I don't know if I got another. Let's not book anything crazy. Don't pressure me. But like, this is the first time I think in my life where I did all that work and I went through what I went through with COVID and with Lynn passing, and I just didn't stop working. And I'm doing more comedy now than I think I ever have. And so like the stuff is just coming, and I don't know why or how, because I don't sit there and write it out. I have ideas, and then I go on stage and I just get out on the ice and figure out where it goes. And there's a period of discovery, which is really what makes it great. Like I just came up with the second half to this fairly disturbing bit that is like one of the greatest things I ever came up with. And it happened on stage, and that's where it happens. It's almost like I don't know where they come from, but that's how it happens.
It feels like it's like I can just relate it to doing the best version of doing this show is when I'm not sure whether I said it on the show or thought it. Right. Because it means it's a 1-to-1. Yeah. That there's not 2 versions of me. It's just like what I think is what I say. And that's when you get to that point where you feel like, oh, it's not, I thought this, but let me run it through these 2 filters before I say it in front of anybody. When those filters are gone, that's the best version.
The benefit I have, though, is it's like you do that and I'll do it on the podcast, and I'm like, that could be a bit. Yeah. And then like I've said it out loud, I've thought it out loud. I discovered it in real time. Yeah. And then I'm like, I wonder if I can build that out or tighten that up or use the premise, the idea. Because you do have a bit of leeway when you're doing radio. You know what I mean? Because you got to fill
spread
time.
Out. And also just being live by the nature of it being live. Yeah. You're not worried about cuts or tightening anything. People embrace the pace. Yeah. And it's
what it is. It makes it. Yeah.
I'm amazed that more people aren't doing live stuff with this form rather than.
Well, I think you got to put a lot of infrastructure in place. Well, I mean, I record live, but I don't, broadcast.
But you came out of years of radio,
a couple years of live radio. Yeah.
But that's what gave you the leg up on a lot of people when they were stepping in front of a microphone. You already had
on this microphone.
Yeah, tons of hours under your belt, or just
as a comic. But the broadcast mic, it's not. Who knows why some people get through and some people don't,
Yeah.
because anybody can do it. And I'm not even particularly like, I have a speech impediment. I slur my L's. I yeah a lot. I'm very hard on myself initially as a broadcaster, where you were always a broadcaster. So you always, like, there was Mount Tom. It's like Tom
awesome.
is doing the broadcasting.
Yeah.
He's the funny guy broadcaster of the radio.
Well, that's very sweet. I remember, this was one of the funniest things. I remember when there was that period where it's just like, does Tom like Mark? Does Mark like Tom? And everybody's like circling each other, kind of like,
We didn't know each other.
We didn't know each other. And it's just kind of like, I like tweeted a blind item, one of those things out. And then Brendan, your producer and partner, was like, hey, is this a shot at Mark? I'm like, no, it's not. Like, he's just like, just making sure. Like it's just like kind of everybody's sussing out the situation. And finally it was like at Maxwell's, you were doing one of the Yola Tango Hanukkah shows.
Yeah.
And I came up, we talked, we're kind of like, yeah, we're here. Welcome each other. We're friends.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
It was a weird kind of like,
we're sort of in the back, and you're doing your arms crossed thing, and I'm
like,
sitting there. Yeah, this is the guy. This is the first time we met.
Yeah.
Well, Brendan's so funny.
Second time we met, because I told you when I went to that show, and I was like, it was when you were doing the show, the one-man show at the theater.
Jerusalem Syndrome?
Yes, it was Jerusalem Syndrome. I came up and I was just like, hey, I love seeing you. Went, yeah.
Come on. That can't be right.
It was. But then you said, when I told you that story later, you were just like, oh, I was scared.
Yeah, scared. Thinking about me.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just like, oh, I know what that's like. You kidding? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But it was interesting how long we didn't really know each other. And Brendan was always like, he's a huge fan of yours. And, I think he was just kind of like working it a little bit, that I should, be I should know you.
Yeah. Well, that's the wrestling loving side of Brendan coming out, where he's like, here's a battle and it's two guys. It's like, watch them square off. It's like my favorite wrestler and the other wrestler.
It's so funny though, my relationship with the producer, and I've known him. He's been my producer, since he was 24.
Yeah.
At Air America, he was there when I first did radio in my life. And now, but the part of him now that it's just him and I who do this thing and have been doing it now for a long time, is just how much he has my back is spectacular.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he reached out, he's like, what was that? What's going on?
He's just like, he's running he's looking out. He's
totally.
Like,
and he has to look out because I don't know better. Like I'll record stuff, like I'll do an intro and then he edits it.
Yeah.
And then like I'll text him. I'm like, I'm thinking about that thing I said maybe. And he's like, oh yeah, that's out.
It's already long gone.
Yeah.
He just knows.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. All of it. Oh no, that's gone.
That's the best. He's just kind of like,
but it's so funny because like, I often wonder, he's probably listening, but because like there's some times where like he'll say things, like I'll talk about something on the podcast that he'll cut out, but now he has to qualify because he knows occasionally I do Instagram lives or something.
Yeah.
And he'll text me things like, yeah, you probably shouldn't talk about that anywhere. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it. Because I think the fact that I get on Instagram sometimes and just do an hour and a half from my house, Brendan's like, oh my God, what's
like, no.
Yeah, I have no control over that.
Are we building a delay on this maybe?
Yeah. You can't be trusted to just speak, without somebody to take out the bad stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's nice, Mark. And you can see when somebody says Mark,
is it time to go?
It's time to.
I was wondering when I was coming over here about the last time, and I had this memory of the idea that you're doing this marathon show, and I said in the dressing room, it's like, it's a telethon for Tom.
It's kind of like the telethon where somebody will go just like, so what's the charity involved in this? He's just like,
attention.
But I almost thank you. I wanted it to be this thing. Honestly, I did the WFMU marathon stuff for so long, and it was always tied to fundraising. I was just like, well, what if we just do a thing that's just fun and we're not asking anything of anybody? It's a full-on fun time without like some sort of trade-off in it. Even if for charity, it's still, I just want this to be a fun time.
And it is fun. And it made me remember this time where I don't remember if I was in Hebrew school or junior high or high school, but it was one of these things where they wanted volunteers to answer phones at the local affiliate for the Jerry Lewis telethon. So I didn't remember that they would cut away to a local affiliate sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I volunteered for the overnight shift in Albuquerque, New Mexico, at the local affiliate to answer phones on camera, because I thought, like, I'm going to be on camera.
Yeah.
And the few things that I saw of myself was there's no way to really see it, but I'd see it in the monitor. Come 3 a.m, no one's calling, and it's just this teenager, sleeping on his hand.
Waiting for someone in Albuquerque
to call,
to care about muscular dystrophy.
Yeah, for a second, so I could engage. It was like, I think it might have been the first time I on purpose stayed up all night, and it was just terrible. So I appreciate you getting me in early.
Well, yeah, of course. Now you're off the hook. Look, this is I'm so glad you came by to be a part of this, and you came by early. It's the best. And you're just going to be you're touring now, working.
St. Louis this weekend, if you want to come to Helium, St. Louis people. And then Vegas, not the Strip. I'm in the Arts District at a small club in Vegas this month. And I got Denver coming up, and I got some Bellingham Festival in Washington. And if you go to WTFpod.com/tour, I'm out there.
Okay. People can get all the info there. Amazing.
Thanks, buddy.
Well,
Good
Mark, I
you.
appreciate you coming by. Thanks.
So am I taking this tie or?
Oh no, I think that needs to stay.
All right, Tom. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.